Haven't in a minute. Let's have a look.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us today on today's LinkedIn Facebook Live. I'm delighted because I'm chatting with Laurie Macpherson, who is a brilliant career coach. I'm going to be talking all about mastering LinkedIn, so how to stand out and land your ideal job using LinkedIn, which is one of my favourite platforms. And I know it's one of Laurie's as well, and it's how Laurie and I met and became friends. So I'm going to be talking today about how you can use it when job searching. So thank you so much, Laurie, for joining us today. I know you're in sunny Spain, so appreciate you jumping away from the pool to give us your time today.
Oh, you're so welcome. And yeah, I'm a bit warm, folks. I am just trying to get myself used to all the aircon and things.
I know she's making me jealous because it's got very cloudy and cold here in the UK. People that are watching in the UK will know it's not so nice today. So yes, well, thank you so much for joining us. Why should people be on LinkedIn if they're looking for a job? You know, some people might think, why do I?
Okay, so we know that the market. Oh, sorry, God, there's a bit of a delay on this.
That's all right.
Yeah, so basically, we know that the market is really hard right now, Liz. It's not easy to just apply and get an interview. People are finding they're coming up against hundreds of people for every job, and it's a bit tough. So if you have a bit of a network, if you have people looking out for you on LinkedIn, it just makes life so much easier, because they can be there looking out for things that are coming in, things that they see that you don't. We all view different media, we know that, and they can be looking at ways to help you ticking over in the background while you do your job searching as normal on the job boards. But they can actually be saying, you know, I've seen something that looks like it might appeal to you. They can be recommending you for things. They can be listening out for things. We just all view such different media, and it's so useful to have. It's basically like having another group of folk doing your job search for you. So you're not just having to sit and go through the job boards, which we know is tedious and soul destroying and not easy right now.
Yeah. Okay. And is it, some people get intimidated by it, don't they? They think it's quite corporate, stuffy, it's not fun, or what's been your experience of being on LinkedIn?
Yeah, the absolute opposite, because the great thing about it is that you get to choose who you follow. You get to choose who you connect with. So if you don't want lots of corporate types, if you don't want lots of folk from your past, not that there's anything wrong with having them as long as they're supportive, if you don't want them, you don't have to have them. You can absolutely choose to connect with really cool people, and there are so many great creators right now out there who are creating really, really interesting, exciting copy, and who are writing about things in your own field. And those people would love to have your support and you watching them and you listening to what they're saying and you appreciating and liking and commenting on their posts. So if your feed looks a bit dull, that's on you to add people who you actually want to see and be seen by. And I know most folk don't want to be seen.
Yes,
just want to invisibly go about their
feedback I've had.
They just want to invisibly go about their business, but unfortunately that's not enough right now. And it's just people who are not just applying on the usual way. It's just a real lengthy slog. So why not have another group of folk who you can actually interact with in a really, really nice, genuine way, and have lovely conversations about your thing, whatever that might be, with people who are like you on LinkedIn.
Brilliant. So how do you use then LinkedIn as a job searching tool then? And, you know, what would be your step-by-step tips for someone to start using LinkedIn if they've never been on it before? Or they've just maybe work?
Great question. So first of all, lurkers make up 95 to 99% of the platform. So most folk don't post. So if you do, you'll stand out automatically. Another thing to think about is if you look at the headline that you're putting out there, so lots of folk just have, you know, HR manager as their headline. It's just such a waste of space, because you can actually, or their title where they are, you can actually talk about what you can offer, what you can do, and for whom and how, in that 220 characters, without ever upsetting your current boss. I know lots of people are job searching stealthily or saying anything that's not true. You can absolutely use that. So think about what headline people might be searching for to find a you. So people have wacky headlines, Liz, like, I had one the other day who came on and she was something like, something or other, unicorn entrepreneur. Okay. I said, no one's searching for that. Like, the best will in the world, no one's searching for that. It's just not a thing. So why don't we use one that people are actually going to be searching for, which is something like, what you actually do, which is about research or about HR or about creating copy or something that tells people what you do. If you have a specific type of people you do it for, such as, public sector bodies or charities or whatever, and a little bit of the how. So by that, I mean, you can use some nice fence posts at the end to say, maybe you do it by creating interesting copy. Maybe you talk about AI, maybe you talk about DE&I, whatever you do, you can have that there in your headlines so that people who are searching can find you. So the first thing to say is don't get stuck on it, especially if you're out of work and you've still got your old job title. You're not that. You're not being constricted into that anymore. You can talk about what you want to do next. So you get to choose your headline, as long as obviously it's true. You're not saying you're a dentist or doctor. Please don't do that. If you're not, that could come back in you. But genuinely, if you're in a space and you want to move slightly over, what lots of folk do is say things like that are really generic or word salady, like hardworking or entrepreneurial or all different, or they say, but I help all different types of people, or I do all different types of things. It's messy and muddy and people don't really get it. So until you've got a massive following and a massive personal brand, then you can say what you like. Things that are / don't usually work that well. So for example, accountant / baker / jewellery maker, people find it quite hard to work out how you can help them. And ultimately that's what to think about LinkedIn. What does my next manager need right now that I can help them with? What's waking them up at 4 o'clock in the morning thinking, I wish I had a such and such? What's stopping them from having a nice Sunday because they're thinking about Monday that you can solve? Don't worry about all the other options that are out and all the other things you could do. Pick something, focus on that, write your bio around it, write your headline around it, and then once you're choosing what you put out in the world, then you can start to look for other folk who are going to be useful for you to know. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, who are going to be talking the content that you need to read and need to be part of, the content that's out there about your thing. So say for talking, you are a researcher in early years learning. You can use the search bar. You don't have to restrict it to just folk you already know. You can use the search bar to look for early years researchers and then connect with them. So that's the second thing. Your headline now shows them that's what you do. You then
if someone's not connected to talk, do you send a message? What would you advise people? So you find someone on LinkedIn and it's quite self-explanatory, it's like quite clear how you can connect with people. There's a button, isn't there? But then would you recommend that they send a message or just a connection request?
So this is hugely controversial. I just send a connection request because as long as your headline shows them that you're in the same space-ish, they should get why you're trying to connect with them. If you then want to say later on, I've noticed, I really enjoyed your article. Thanks for connecting. Looking forward to seeing you in my feed. Something like that. Go for your life, but you don't have to at this point in time. You're not trying to get anything from them or give them anything at this point. You're literally just going to see what they're up to, see what they're talking about. And once you see what they're all about, you can join in that conversation. So I don't personally go into the DMs really quickly. I like to just get a bit of a feel for what they're all talking about and join in their conversation. Then once I know them better, I then say, really liked what you had to say about that. How funny. Someone said just something yesterday that really made me laugh, that she's really small, but people keep thinking she's tall on camera, which keeps happening to me too. And it was funny. So, I thought, that's, and I've commented on that. Now that's the sort of thing I could easily take into the comments because do you remember it? Because it's quite funny, so that you can do. But I think it was just if you're only going to send a generic message anyway, saying something like nice to meet you or nice to see, it's not really adding masses of value anyway. So I wouldn't stress about spending time doing that.
Okay. All right. So you're searching for people that you think are going to be helpful for you in potentially your job search, or people potentially new colleagues or your new manager.
Who's who might you work with and for, or who might be able to refer you who's sort of adjacent, similar, but not the same. So for example, for me, good contacts are always recruiters, HR people, because they do work that's similar to mine, but not the exact same. There's also no harm in having competitors, people who do exactly what you do. I introduce people all the time. It's great because it just actually opens up the conversation. How often you comment on things in the flexible world. Are they your competitors? Maybe, maybe not. That's all good. It's just about showcasing who you are and what you can do and what you can offer. And that's the next part. Once you've connected with the right folk, start leaving comments on their posts.
Yeah, that's quite an easy way. We've had some questions come through. I've just got one final question myself, and then we'll photos and the banner. Do you need a banner when your job's, people might not know what I'm talking about, but on a LinkedIn profile, you can have like a banner on the top, can't you?
Yeah, so if you can make one or get someone to make you one pretty cheaply, a graphic designer will do it for you. That's great. Or Canva, if you have any sort of, they don't have to be amazing. The better they are, the better. But any sort of banner that shows what you do, and a photo is an absolute must. And the reason for that is people won't accept you if they can't see a photo, because they can't know that you're an actual human, not some sort of algorithm type bot. Also, I absolutely dread it, Liz, when I'm on a call and someone says, my name's John Smith, and you're like, there's 70 billion of them, so how do they know it's actually you? And the other thing is, take a recent photo that's like got the same sort of hair color, etc. It's so difficult. It's so difficult. I've walked past so many bald men who had full heads of hair in their picture. And also, if we've all mostly gained a little bit of weight over the whole COVID period, again, it's really difficult to identify if someone's got a really old catfish photo and they actually look totally different. So have a photo up there that looks like you. Honestly, it's so embarrassing, and I'm thinking, I've had a conversation with this person, but they don't look the same. So, and this is not about a judgment about people's looks. It's literally put something up there that represents who you are, because otherwise people will find it really difficult to identify you. So be kind to them.
Brilliant. So Dilshad said, what elements of a LinkedIn profile do you find the most compelling or impactful?
The headlines should be where it really happens, where you know what the person does. Some people have just got amazingly smart headlines, or they just are really clear. The bit, if it's not clear, it just becomes really muddy, as I say, and messy, ////. You do all different things. We're all multi-talented, multi-passionate by midlife, aren't we? But it's about picking a couple of things and focusing on the bits that you can use to help others. That's where it really works well. So impact, usually your headline. If you haven't got a headline that really is clear, folk won't usually go much further. So that comes on to the kind of about section, Liz, and people really get panicky about what to write, and they write streets and streets. They copy their CV, all of that stuff, and it just people won't read it if you haven't got a compelling headline anyway. So don't overly spend hours and hours and hours on it. What I would focus on again is, how can you help them? So do you save them money? So do you save them money? Do you make them money? Do you generate tons of revenue? Have you worked for loads of other great businesses in the sector? Yada, yada, yada. What can you do for them? It's having that in your back of your mind, not here I am and here's all my awards and all of that stuff. That's great. But here's how I help you and how they can get in touch with you. And if you are able to openly job search the sort of work that you're looking for and where and how hybrid and all of that, tell them that.
Yeah, brilliant. That's really good advice. Someone else has said, what do you think, going back to what we were talking about, sending connection requests, what do you think about an introductory email if you can find their contact details on their profile?
No, I don't like. It's a wee bit spammy, and it's a wee bit, again, what's in it for them? Like, if I have to, I don't like a connection request even that says, tell me what attracts you. I don't want to have to do anything. Maybe that's
people
lazy.
People are quite lazy. People get a lot of messages.
Are lazy. I get tons of requests, and I don't really want to answer what attracted you. I'm just here. If you don't want me to be here, take me off. It's okay. But I don't really want, and I sometimes say to people, I don't want ones that I'm going to have to answer. I don't know you. I'm looking to get to know you. That's why I'm here. But I don't really want to answer loads of back and forth chit chat because I can't know what their content's like. All they have to do is show me by their content what they're talking about, and then I'll be able to join in, clearly and see what they're all about. So I wouldn't certainly take it off LinkedIn. I think that's a bit of a GDPR issue, if I'm completely honest, though I'm not a GDPR expert by any stretch. But I wouldn't take it off platform. It's frustrating because sometimes we'll get a LinkedIn, Liz, and we respond, and then the person goes off LinkedIn for 3 weeks, and we don't get that because we're on LinkedIn every day. So, you know, it is frustrating. You do want to go back to them, but it's not great practice to then go onto a different platform.
Yeah. Okay. So you've started making connection requests. You're starting to hopefully now comment on people's posts and start to build those relationships. What next then? How else can you, I guess, use LinkedIn to aid your job search?
You can write your own content. And this is the bit that's really scary. And I totally acknowledge that. Even commenting is scary because you're thinking, they don't know me. I haven't made any, you know, I feel a bit of a weirdo. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a weirdo.
People love comments on their post though, because it makes their post get more reach. They'll be dead chuffed if you comment.
Absolutely delighted. Comment as long as it's not rude. Comment whatever you like. But genuinely,
even just an emoji.
Yeah, you do feel like a strange weirdo, and it's part of acknowledging that. Do you know what? I'm going to feel a bit strange, but this is part of my new job search strategy. It's not, you're not just doing it for the sheer fun of it. It's part of getting a job and building a bigger network. And you know, even if the job this time doesn't come from there, it's about having it ready as insurance for next time. So what can you post? You can absolutely post a flare, which is when you put a flare up into the world that says, I am looking for work. And this is obviously, you can only do
viral those posts as well, don't they?
People love it. And sometimes some people, so I would avoid at all costs, no matter how you're feeling. And please take this in the kind way that it's meant, but I see them every single day and I don't like them and I don't think they're helpful. Do not go on about how awful, traumatic, stressful the job searching process, your redundancy, etc. has been. It's positive. It's why would an employer want to hire you? Nobody owes you that they'll hire you because you're down to your last whatever. Unfortunately, that's not a thing. So what I would suggest you do instead is talk about, again, for the 100th time, how you can help them. So here I am looking for, I'm now, you know, in some I've seen it done really cleverly. I'm now available for work. I'm looking for this, this, and this. Be specific. Again, women particularly tend to say, oh, I don't mind, and all that nice compliance stuff comes out. Let's stop it now and say, here's what I want. Here's what that might look like. Here's where that might be. If you're looking for hybrid, remote, flexible, blah, 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 what area, tell them all of that. Here's the sort of stuff I've done in the past. Here's how I can help you. And here's how you can get in touch. I'd love any shares or comments. If you can do a nice smart post, you know, about any sort of spin on something. One of my lovely clients at one point did, I'm just a girl standing in front of LinkedIn asking them to help to find a job. That did really well because it was smart and well written. If you can, or you're going to,
we've seen a lot of those posts tomorrow now.
If writing the post is going to freak you out and take all day, don't do it. Just literally write a quick flare saying, connections, friends, you know, friends, Romans, countrymen, I would love your help with finding a new role. That's it. And
what about a photo with the post?
Photo post, great. I read something this morning actually from the LinkedIn Queen, Lee Turner, about how LinkedIn are cracking down on promoting just no context selfies, you know, just where an attractive pouty woman gets tons of traction. It's an attractive pouty photo, nothing to do with the thing. But don't be scared to put a photo. People love to see the person behind the thing, and don't be scared to put a photo of your life, I ran a LinkedIn challenge in January and they were posting their chickens, their cups for their tea. You know, here's my outhouses, here's my country walks, here's my jewelry that I make. People are nosy and people want to see what people are up to. I love to see what people are up to because I can either go, yes, that's me too. Or I can go, oh, interesting, not me. Anyone climbing hills or anything remotely active, I'm like, oh, not me. However, great, that looks like they're having a lovely time, grand. Yeah. You know, I'm still interested. So attract and repel, it's all about that. But yeah, don't be scared to put a picture. Don't be scared to, but you do have to repeat your flares. You can't just do it once. And you know, if you're still sitting a month or two down the line, go back, flare again. Lots of good stuff happening, folks, since the last post. Thank you so much. Still waiting for that perfect opportunity. Reminder, here's what I'm looking for. You know, like we as business owners have to keep repeating the same message. It's the same if you are searching. Now, if you're watching this and you're not able to openly search, obviously you can't do that. But what you can start to do is talk about events you're attending, people you're meeting, seminars you're going to, conferences that are happening, amazing work you're doing as part of your company just now, so that people can see what you do. Now, just check the social media guidelines before, some companies are really locked down, which is really sad. And not great for them actually, but do check the guidelines if you are sort of still working. If you're out, you can do whatever you like. Just be aware that new employer will see, which is why I would avoid any negativity about the process. I know it's really hard. I know it's really tough, but it's not a great look if their first image of you is you complaining about them or their compadres, so keep it positive, how can you help them? When I worked at such and such, here's what happened. Another lovely thing to do is give someone a recommendation while you're out at work and looking. If you have to give them, to get them, scroll right down their feed and you'll find a thing that says give them a recommendation. It's a lovely thing to wake up to. I got one the other day, which was just lovely, and you always feel great. And you can alter it if you things you don't want to have said, identifying things or whatever, but a lovely recommendation is a really nice way to give a little bit of love out.
Well, can't you?
Yes.
Someone said, what's the line between LinkedIn and Facebook? Is there a line?
Well, so interesting. This time last year, I did the same thing. I came away on holiday for a month and I posted a post about, I'm making it, we don't care if you think it should be on Facebook. We don't care. We're building our personal brands, blah, 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 blah. I had a picture of my very unexciting and normal legs, hot dog leg picture in the sun, and it got 44,000 odd views. And I went to repost it this time because it's really, really good for your traction, because obviously I'm away and I'm not posting as much. And I thought, oh, that's good for the algorithm.
Yeah, recycle. I do that. I recycle posts.
So I use an app called Shield that lets you see your best posts. I'm just going to stick that out one day because it helps me while I'm away, because I'm off this week, as you can tell, and I'm off in a few weeks as well. So that'd be good. And then I looked at it and I thought, you know what? I don't actually need to repost that because there's been much less of this isn't Facebook comments lately. So a year ago, you'd get tons of this isn't Facebook. If you mentioned anything normal that wasn't, I'm delighted to announce, type dull businessy posts. But people are actually getting into the vibe that people buy from people. People hire other humans. Who would you rather work with? Someone that you gel with or someone that you don't? So honestly, if you're comfortable putting it out there, don't worry about someone coming and saying this isn't Facebook. You can always just go back and say, oh, no, it's just the colours are so similar. And, I always give them a sarcastic answer like, damn it, the colours, sorry, I've accidentally pressed it. They know, they know, and I know.
Just ignore that comment.
Yeah, or just ignore, or just, don't justify it with a response, but people buy from people. So don't worry about other people's opinions of your feeds. You get to decide what you post. You get to decide what people see. If it's not working, as in you're continually adding, commenting, and you're getting no traction, maybe you do need to think about what you're putting out there. But in the first instance, post about what you do, post about how you help, post about what you've done in the past, post about what you like. The best posts are the posts that ask a question. Get a ton of traction. I just put one up this morning, genuinely, because I was up really early and I'm whizzing through my books and I'm like, God, I'm going to run out. So I just ask any holiday read recommendations. So I've got a ton of engagement on that because people are like, oh, people usually actually quite want to help. And they're like, oh yeah, I've read this, I've read that. So that's the sort of thing. It's not anything to do with my business. It's not anything to do with work, but I'm a human being who enjoys reading, and other human beings who enjoy reading have come on to suggest things. Mm-hmm. All good.
Okay, brilliant. Ling has said, I'm just wondering this. So Ling has joined late and they've asked how to use LinkedIn to secure a job at director level and above. And so we'll have the replay, Ling. So I don't know if it's probably worth going back because a lot of this will apply what we talked about to securing a job at all levels. But is there anything specific to securing a role at more senior level?
I think it's just about using your network then. And I say this to everyone, but specifically at director level, you'll hopefully have a good network of other directors. And if you don't, start now because, you're going to need it. Go back to people in your previous job, the one before that, and literally go through who can I speak to about what I'm looking for now. You don't have to write chapter and verse. And again, for women watching, women tend to think they're using people. And they feel awkward about, I haven't spoken to her for ages. It doesn't matter. You're not asking her for anything massive. You're asking her to look out for anything in your organisation, her organisation, her sort of organisation, that sort of thing. That's all you're doing. So, my old colleagues ping me stuff all the time. We don't have massive amounts of chat. If I met them in the street, I would absolutely stop and have a conversation. But it's just they're looking out for each other, and that's okay, that's cool. So just ask the question. You should have a decent network if you're at director level, and as I say, if you don't, please make it a huge priority from now on in. Go and ask your previous colleagues, here's what I'm looking for now, especially if it's changed, especially if you've in the interim 5 years, you might have gone and done something for someone else. Here's what I'm looking for. I'd love you to keep a wee eye out for me. Again, don't worry because it's director. I must be professional. All of that stuff has kind of gone. You just have to be a you who's great at what you do, and your colleagues and friends should come on and give you some support. Don't be scared to ask. And the other thing is, don't be scared to directly approach people and say, I've done it a couple of weeks ago before I came away, things are quiet in the summer. Have you got anything, or can you think of anyone I should be speaking to? One of them posted for me. One of them said not yet, but might be if we get the next contract. And one of them said, let's talk when I come back my holidays. None of them laughed at me. None of them ignored me, and none of them shamed me. They all said, gosh, it's up and down, isn't it? Yeah, let me have a think.
Yeah, and you're not, a lot of businesses.
Yeah, and you're not asking them for anything. You're just planting a bit of a seed so that if something does come in, or they do see an email and they think, oh God, I haven't got capacity to do that. I can't be jiggered to do that. I don't think that's my thing. Oh, Laurie would be good at that. That's all you're doing. So you're same for your directors. You're just planting that seed of here's where I am. Here's what I can offer. Can you help? Don't be... The higher up the chain you get, people get more and more embarrassed to ask. Honestly, people are genuinely desperate, especially after COVID. Like, people just lost their jobs and lost their livelihoods and had to change their lives so radically overnight that people are much more willing to help.
I think it's made of most people, I would hope to think, more compassionate, hasn't it, that period? And
100%.
Everyone's, really looking out for each other. Okay. So we talked about the profile, creating a profile, connecting with people, building a network, and then doing some posts as well, and commenting on other people's posts, which is really, really important as well, because you definitely notice. As someone that does post, I notice who comments on all my posts, and I love them, and you actually then really notice who does comment. So, if I was a hiring manager, it would be it's a really good way to be noticed. The other thing I was going to say, so you secure your job, which is fantastic. Do you go off LinkedIn? Is that the end of your relationship with LinkedIn?
No, never, ever. The best time to use LinkedIn is when you don't need it for anything. Yeah. Honestly, I saw a post the other day, and bless her, she posted, I've been made redundant. It was all desperate times and all of that. And I totally get it. I've been made redundant myself. But she hadn't posted in 9 months. And that post had just been a repost of someone else's post. So no content, no building, just, I need help. That is far less likely to be taken up than someone who's actively on there every day doing the chat. If you or I needed to get a job tomorrow, I would personally be raging if my network didn't bring it to me. I would be very upset if I had to fill in an application form, and I might get a bit stroppy about it, to be quite honest, because I've done the work to build a massive LinkedIn network that's really engaged. I do my likes, I do my comments, I add my people. That's part of my strategy, it's part of my day. So I think you can't just expect to use LinkedIn when you need it. The other thing is, people say, I feel like I'm using people, or I feel like I'm asking all the time. So don't ask when you need to right now. But once you're in a job, give really freely.
You'll be the one that will be getting commented on your post because someone wants to get where you're working.
Exactly. And Sunday morning I was lying in bed, and I saw someone put up a desperate post, and I wrote some really good advice to her. Now she can either read it and take it or not. That's totally up to her. But if I've done that, and people have actually taken the time, I would say that LinkedIn is your insurance policy, because the new job might be amazing. You might stay there for the next 20 years, but it probably won't, and you probably will move at some point, and that's the reality. You could get bought out, get a new boss, have to change your working pattern for a reason you can't yet imagine tomorrow. And if you've done that, and you've done the bit of keeping LinkedIn working away in the background, it would be so much easier to go in and then ask them, your people, for something if you've done the work in advance, rather than just going in, please help me, which is absolutely fine, and we're all out there ready and willing to help. But it's so much more likely that people will give back. It's that reciprocity thing. And sometimes you will be given, and sometimes you'll be taken. Both are fine, so long as you do both over time.
Brilliant. Katharina has asked, how often would you recommend a person posts, or is commenting, liking enough?
Depends what you want to achieve, Katharina. So if you really want to build a brand and build a network, I know you probably don't want to build a personal brand because it sounds deeply ick and you think, ugh, I'm just going to do my job and
I just want to get a job.
With any of that stuff. But genuinely, I would post, if you can keep, the best thing to say is consistency beats sort of doing 10 posts and then nothing. So if you can commit to posting Monday and Friday, and top tip, LinkedIn makes it dead easy because there's a schedule button. So you can go to write your post, and at the bottom there's a little clock. You can post it out Monday and Friday, or Monday and Saturday, or whenever you want to post. And by the way, weekends are not a bad time to post. Weekends are a great time to post.
Yeah, less people post actually, so yours gets quite a lot more engagement on a weekend.
Lots, and especially if you use an engagement post. So I always have an engagement post at the weekend as an ask a question. Last couple of weeks I've been lucky enough to go and see Elton John and Beyonce and things like that over the weekends. It's been like gig season, hasn't it? Festival season. So I've been asking people, who's the biggest person you've seen? Great traction, because it's an engagement post. So if you are looking to build a brand and stay active on LinkedIn, maybe 2-3 times a week, if you can commit to that. As business owners, we have to do a lot more. It's harder if you're trying to build a business. Full disclosure, Liz will tell you that. You have to be on there most days, so every day. But if you're just looking to build a network as an employee 2-3 times a week, but with liking and commenting and doing your connections, so adding new people. And I know that you're going to be sitting there thinking,
how many new people should you add today, and is there a limit? That's probably, we haven't covered that. Is there a minimum and a maximum?
Yeah, 10 is your maximum. Now they can let you do more than that, but they can get a bit funny and send you like you've added your maximum for this month and all. So don't panic, just stop for a little while and go back to it. But 10 a day is your max. So if you can do 10 a day, even over July, right, that'd be another 300 people who had eyes on you by August. Even if you just did that when you are on holiday, if you just literally clicked on your sunbed, or while you were waiting for, your suntan lotion to dry, or something that you can fit in all the time. It's so like mine is before I go to bed at night, certainly, but usually like while I'm waiting for my lunch to cook in the microwave or my cup of tea to boil at lunchtime, I'll quickly do my 10 connections. And it's 10 people who you want to see and be seen by. So in your sector, companies you're interested in, people you're interested in, you can use hashtags to search as well. They're not as good as Insta hashtags, but some people do use them, so they will pop up and they will show keywords. So the search bar is your best friend. Find your people, add them, and then, for goodness sake, interact and connect with them. And they'll get to start to recognise your audience.
If people comment, should you reply to the comments on your posts?
Always. Yes, so that's a really good point. Don't post and ghost. If you're going to put a post out, you want to ideally, now I know this is beginning to sound a little bit like a massive task. Ideally, you want to be around for the first little while. And again, when you have hardly any connections, don't worry, because hardly anyone's going to see it. As it grows, people will comment quite quickly, and you can quite quickly see if the post's going to be a good one that gets a bit of engagement. And the way that you can help that is by commenting. When people comment, you reply. You like and reply. It's also, it's polite. If someone's taking the time like this morning to give me a genuine recommendation, I'm like, right, I'm off to Amazon straight away. Sorry for any non-Amazon fans in the room. It's just nice to give a comment back. Just again, that reciprocity thing starts the ball rolling, starts a bit of chat.
Oh, brilliant. This has been so good. I mean, my final thing is I've used LinkedIn so much to find candidates that have got jobs, that I've been advertising because they've had a well-optimized profile. I've seen their posts. They've been in my network. So it is a really valuable tool to get a job, to get a contract, to get a freelance, get whatever you're looking for. And all the people actually that work for me, we've met through LinkedIn. So
Yeah, and it's what you're saying is so worth it. If you were a recruiter, I've got a really good recruiter pal, and she says this year she hasn't had to pick up the phone once. Nobody wants to, once they get to senior level, sit ringing their yellow pages. It's extremely tedious. What you want to do is have a good folk on your LinkedIn that you see all the time, that when a vacancy comes in, you just go to them because they've got the keywords right. You search for them, you see what they do, you read their posts, you know what they're all about. You think, great. So recruiters are actively on there all day, every day, looking for folk like you, 100%, but they can't find you if you're hiding behind / that you like playing on your motorbike at the weekend. Lovely, but nothing to do with what they're looking for. Or if you're hiding, or if you're never on there, or if you haven't got a picture, they're not going to dig too deep, so they're going to find someone who's got all this stuff going on, and it's just quicker and easier. We're all lazy, let's be honest, and let's make it really easy.
And we're all busy, so make it easy. Yeah. So
exactly.
How can you help people master LinkedIn further? If someone's like, watch this, they've really thought, you know what, I'm going to get more into LinkedIn. Do you have any offers that help people become LinkedIn experts?
Yes, so I have a really quick and easy course. It's 25 days, 25 tasks to get you optimized from your URL, your photo, all of the stuff, right up to confidently posting a couple of times a week over 25 days. And it's dripped, so it doesn't all come at once. So you get in a massive overwhelmed panic. You'll get something every day. And it's just tiny tasks. None of them will take you more than 10 minutes, maybe other than your about section. But again, I don't advocate massive overthinking of anything. Or I'd have overthought getting myself cooler and, not as red by coming on this thing, but I didn't. I just went with the flow and thought I must speak to everyone at 12 o'clock. So yeah, it's really easy. I've broken it down. It's so simple. It's not even video lessons because I think people are just even finding that too much for their brain sometimes now. There's a couple of video lessons where it's 30 seconds to show you. It's mostly just written content. Go away, do your tasks, and start by sort of halfway through, you'll actually be posting, and by the end, you'll be posting confidently and regularly. And there's even a video at the end to see how to keep going.
Brilliant. So how can people find this course then and connect with you?
Yeah, can I put links under this? Is that all right?
Yeah, I don't know if okay, brilliant. Oh, Rachel said, Laurie's course is amazing. Well worth it to motivate you to crack on.
Yay. Oh, that's so nice. Lovely. Thank you very much, Rachel. Yeah, so it's just about motivating people, getting them to do it. So it's £99. You can pay in 2 installments if it's easier. And it's 25 tasks, 25 days. It's get growing and get going. It's called Next Level LinkedIn. And I'll put a link in the comments.
Is it on your website as well? What's your website, Laurie?
It's on the website. Yeah, it's on the website. It's on lauriemacpherson.com.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, it's lauriemacpherson.com.
You find it. And connect with Laurie on LinkedIn. Laurie's a pal on LinkedIn. She'll be cheering you on. So, yeah, definitely connect with Laurie.
100%. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Well, we'll put all the links in the show notes. Thank you so much, Laurie, for joining us today. Thank you to everyone that's watched and all your questions. And it's been great. Thank you.
Thanks very much for having me. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.